Good morning. It's nearly noon. For those of you not in Houston, it may be later, maybe earlier. How cool is that? Welcome up. 2 blocks, 1 town. If you need padding for your knees, if you have 2 blocks, we can use that for knees. Today's cup, La Marzocco Demitas from the factory in Florence from 2014 when we got to visit there for the day. Here's my left foot on a block. If you need extra balance, you can put a hand on the wall. All we're going to do is slowly swing this right leg. Today is slow. Slow, slow, slow. It's a little chilly today here in Houston, Texas. It's a beautiful treat, and it makes you less flexible. A little more sore. Allergies are also way up in these parts. All right, when the leg is forward, I feel some meat on the front of the hip. When the leg is back, I feel some meat on the back of the hip. No sound? No sound? Interesting. I see sound. Any sound? Let's do 2 more swings. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Thanks for letting me know, John. If stuff's not working, you can chat at me. We'll take care of it. You're looking at the IT guy as well as the videographer. Let's walk around and feel the difference in the hips. Thank you, guys. To do second side, just so we have consistency, if we're going to work on long holds and balance, which I do highly, highly recommend, I like having the inside leg towards the wall. So in this case, I'm swinging my left leg, left hand is towards the wall. The foot is very asymmetric. When you fall, you tend to fall to the inside, particularly if you're flat-footed, but for all human feet, deer feet are a little different. And so I want to be able to control that. That doesn't mean you never fall to the outside. It just means that that's the tendency. I want to be responsible for that. So left leg up, left leg back. We'll often do this with momentum today. Smooth movements, no momentum. What do you call the movement of the presence belly? You know, if like this exact present time starts chuckling, what do you call the movement? You're here! Yay, nice to see you. Momentummy. It's momentummy. Oh, okay. We're actually going to turn back around. Let's put the left foot back on the block. Now we don't have to reorient. Let's catch this right knee. You finish your espresso. Whee. So holding this right knee with 2 hands may be too difficult. This is why we have the wall here. If I had to choose, I'd rather have the caught leg hand on the wall for the same reason as mentioned before. When the knee comes up, you tend to kick the hips forward, and of course this is just slouching. It's not a good look. And we are a slouch-free style. We are not cat people. We take care of your spine. So go ahead and push the tush back. And of course, the reason you have to push the tush back is when your knee comes forward, if you don't, you fall over. Your leg is heavy. So to stay balanced, I actually have to exaggerate this movement slightly. But it's slightly further back than you think you need. Then arch the chest. We should be getting some pretty clear back sensations. Remember, we love sensations. If this is going well, we do the harder thing. In the level 2 classes, we explore harder variations, like a little taste test on a Lazy Susan. You just check it out, see if it works. If not, just spit it right back out, but don't put it in the original serving dish. Just in your napkin when nobody's looking. See if you can take this right knee and start relocating it. And can I somehow start taking the right knee to way over to the left, crosses the midline, way over to the right, and feel that this movement is coming from the standing hip. If you want to try this movement but it's too hard to balance on the block, just get off the block. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Good. Good, good, good. Pick something to look at, your strong visual focus. Keep your right knee pointed forward. Kick your hips over to the right. Let your upper body fall to the left. Holy moly. Whew. Smooth, deep inhales. Make every breath count. Good. I'm actually, instead of stepping off the block, I'm going to squish 2 feet on. So if you stepped off the block, let's come back onto the block, 2 feet on the block, head pushes up. Ugh. Check out the body. The feet should feel different. You tortured them differently. Yes? Feel that. We shift back, we shift forward. Woo! Wee! Yeah. There we go. Right foot is centered. It's a lot of planning and a lot of work, but we're getting the anatomy book. It's coming right along. For those of you that purchased the anatomy course off yogabetter.com, you will get the anatomy book when it comes out. If you can catch both hands on this left knee, great. If not, you can put a finger on the wall, perfectly fine. You can also try off the block. The block is just, it's unfriendly. It's annoying. It's hard. And that is exactly the idea. Can you be a little bit extra taller, and then push your butt backer. Each inhale, something tries to open up. Every exhale like a sigh. First, we try our vertical rotation, so rotation along the vertical axis. My left knee goes, it crosses the midline way over to the right. Left knee way over to the left. I decided to start, the first time in my life, teach myself drawing. This was last week in March, I guess. So we're about 2 weeks in, maybe 3. It occurred to me that I can solve the illustration problem in my anatomy book if I just do the drawings myself. So if you buy the anatomy course, let's come back to center, kick the hips over to the left, upper body over to the right. You get the current edition of the book, and then when the fully illustrated one comes out, you'll get that as well. All included. It's all half off right now. Is anything interesting that you hear? You sort of hint at it with the body. We talk about it in detail in the big overview. The 12-hour course is a nice overview to the Yoga Better style of anatomy. Feet together, head pushes up. This time, see if you can take your hands behind your back and close your eyes. Ooh. Whoa. Occasionally it works, occasionally it doesn't. The moment you close your eyes, it requires that you reallocate all that visual data processing to something else. And the main thing you're doing, of course, is you're feeling. There's the sensory feel of the weight of your body over the feet. There's the proprioception feel of your body's location relative to the feet. And then there's your vestibular system. It's actually feeling the movement of the head left to right. And for some of you, front to back. So good. That should calm you down a little bit. Make sure you have access to your blocks. Carefully, sweetly, slowly step off the block. Make sure you can reach your blocks as you put your tush against the wall. For those of you new to streaming classes or watching classes online, if you don't have a spot on a wall in your house, you totally have a spot on a wall in your house. They're called doors. Or they're called the space behind doors. Normally doors open up into a wall space. And if you're going to use a door, make sure it opens towards you. That would be super embarrassing if the door disappeared, if your wall disappeared while you're using it. My feet are going to be far enough forward so that when I bend my knees and slide the tush down the wall, if I look down, my heel is further out than the knee, and my hips are higher than the knees, but there still is a bend. It's not, so feel the twitch. For some of you, it's already very conspicuous overt, so just do the best you can. If your hips are knee height, that's a little too low for what we're after today. This is fine. We do work here. But if I open up just a little bit, if I have the hips just above the knees, I'm going to get the same kind of terribleness. And it's a little more sustainable. I can stay a little bit longer. And I can start to work on dealing with the problem of the position, the experience of it. And how do I... But this is a leg work. I'm not like squeezing butt muscles. Make sure nothing comes out other than a grunt. Expand deep inhales. Charge the system. And while you're here, imagine you could inhale directly into the work of the legs. Your legs are having a demand placed on them. So can you imagine you're feeding them directly with these inhales? Now, one of the signs that you can tell that my heels are driving in the floor, see how floppy my calves are? Look at that. Look at that. Maybe pick your heels up. Look at that. Yeah. That's not floppy. If you pick your heels up 1 inch, life is way more interesting. It's different. And quads, can you feel that quads aren't working quite as much? Good. Feet are sweaty today. Now drive your heels down on the floor. There's quads, you feel it. Smooth inhales. Everybody's inhaling. Tick-tock the head. Woo. Awesome. Let's lean forward. Take elbows on femurs. You felt it, didn't you? Anybody feel that their butt's lower? Yeah. It's because your butt's lower. Oh, now arch up and see if you can get on the pointiest part of your butt. If you got it bruising, if you've ever fallen on your tailbone and I've broken my coccyx was broken. I broke it falling out of a tree when I was 12, and so it's kind of sharp. Oh, kind of pointy. Tailbone injuries are basically lifetime, so they'll get better, but you'll always feel a little bit, so you might need to scooch up. Scooching up will put you more on the sit bones. For the rest of us, I don't think, did you know that you had a pointy part of your butt? Your butt's kind of pointy, a little bit. Knees are still bent, butt's still on the wall. Let's grab a block. Now we have lots of levels of people taking all my classes. If you come to one of my beginner classes, you'll often see some of my handstanders warming up, and then you have this thought, am I on the right class? Yes, yes, yes. The medium class is where you dip your toe into the harder variations, and and find where your edges are and and begin your journey in becoming an expert and knowing where your edges are, and then knowing when to quit, knowing when to stop, to give up. And those are different than when the teacher tells you to come out. In the beginner class, teacher tells you to come out to keep you safe. In the advanced class, I'll just keep you in until everyone is dead. So if you're feeling strong, you want a little bit more, the block is going to look like this behind the back. For those of you new to this movement, the block is going to look like this behind the back. So for those of you new, it's in its flattest dimension. For those of you that want a little bit more, I put it in its second tallest dimension. It's a little bit yuckier. Yuck, yuck. Different kind of yuck. So now I bring the body back, get that chest up, have the block behind the back. My butt is very much on the wall. 2 thumbs up. No snow angels. So nobody's arms come out. Everybody's arms come forward and up. Back, back, back. And can you get your thumbs on the wall? I know the answer to that question. But you want to see if you can feel the answer to that question. Is everyone having leg sensations? Are we having leg sensations? I'm a little concerned that we don't all have leg sensations. And I want to stay until we all have leg sensations. It's important. No legs left behind. 3, 2. Good. Get rid of the block. Hand on the wall. I'm going to take my feet a little bit closer together. They sort of slid out as I've been in this position. So now I'm going to take them about as wide as my butt. I push my butt off the wall, come to my squat. For those of you who can't keep your heels down, pick your heels up and balance. For those of you who can't have your heels down, just put your heels down and we take the hand off the wall. Everybody's in their little squatty squat. What's there in your legs? Tick-tock the head. This is called nature's chair. This is how we ensure that our knees are going to function over the coming decades. If right now your knees aren't allowing you to be in this position, consider that the feeling that you're having as you're trying to get into it, however low you go, this is what having healthier knees feels like. For those of you with knee replacements, you're never going to get all the way down, so you'll work here. You touch the knees down, slowly sit back. If it's unilateral knee replacement, you don't have both sides, you'll notice that side is worse. Just take the replacement side out and you can work on your natural knee and bionic knee sort of out of the way. If you can't get your heels down, that's an ankle issue. If you can't get your hips down, that's a knee issue. I've ruined both of my knees. There have been 4 times in the last 10 years I haven't been able to do this position. And the reason I can do this position right now, anybody have a guess? What is the reason I can do this position right now? It's because I do this position. That's exactly right. So range of motion practice is both diagnostic and recuperative. It is the thing that it'll show you what you can't do, but if you do that thing, the thing that showed you that you couldn't do the thing, if you do that, you'll be able to get better at it. It actually is the thing that you would then do to be better. Let's give our legs a little moment. Hands come out. Feet step back. Notice I'm stepping back towards the wall. Set yourself up. The best setup for you guys, put your screen on the chair. That means it's a little elevated so you can see it while standing and see it while sitting and lying. And then have your mat perpendicular to the wall, abutting the wall. It gives us the most options. In this style, we utilize the wall. The wall is a huge boon to our practice. Let's talk about down dog a little bit. Down dog, in its ubiquity, masks quite a bit of complexity. So, from our ankles perspective, it's demanding squat-like mobility in our ankles. So if you can't get your heels down in a squat, you're not going to get your heels down in down dog. It requires contortionistic mobility through our forward bend, so hamstring and gluteals, and then it's a 40% body weight sort of pushing handstand. So it's my arms are in a handstand position with 40% of my body weight. If you don't think 40% of your body weight is a lot, imagine what is 50% of your body weight. Just have that number in mind. I weigh 190 pounds right now, so whatever 190 says is 95 pounds. There we go. I'm good at math. 95 pounds. Does that sound like not a lot? Yeah. 50% of your body is a lot. And as you shift forward, everybody shift forward, take your pelvis forward, take your shoulders forward over the wrist. Now we're closer to 50%. Everybody, let's have the shoulders go forward to the wrist, forward directly over the wrists. So my arms are now vertical. We press back. Forward and back. We're going to warm this up. I turn so you can see. Stay right where you are. I'll reorient so you guys can sort of see the angles, what's going on. Once you get the movement, close your eyes. Focus on your breath. We're going to do to the shoulders and elbows what we did to the hips and knees. Everybody's breathing. Good. Good, good, good. Let's come to our first resting position. Shoulders over the wrists. Take your knees 1 inch off the floor. Artha breathing. Good. And back into down dog. Everybody, arch your chest up. If you had a little spotlight pointing out of your heart, try to point it to that spot in between the hands, even as the hips push back. Smooth, smooth inhales. Bend your elbows, squeeze your elbows in, point your elbows to the floor. Now notice my elbows are not particularly bent, they're just a little bent. That's all it takes. Look at your hands, keep them flat, particularly that index knuckle. Drive the index knuckle into the floor, you squeezify your elbows. And of course what we're really trying to do is as I externally rotate and adduct the shoulders, that forearm has to rotate in more, has to pronate more to keep the hand flat. So if I'm pushing the thumb side of the hand down, what I'm really doing is I'm with, remember, all that body weight, strengthening in a shortened position the pronators of the forearm. Yeah. So good. Keep your hips up and back, hips way up and back. Elbows are bent. There should be some shaking. If this is easy for you, keep the elbow bent and then casually scratch your nose. See if you can take your elbows 1 inch lower. Oh no. An inch lower. Remember I said see. See if you can. An inch lower. Oh, so good. See if you can get your elbows an inch off the floor. 3, 2, 1. Straighten the arms. Now back and down dog. Scooch back till your heels touch the wall. Let's take your feet hip height on the wall. Oh, darn it. I want to touch my knees down. Feel the wonderful difference in having your arms straight relative to having your elbows bent. Elbows bent. Allergies are up, aren't they? Elbows bent is a real bummer. And the reason, of course, is clear. Your body weight is trying to go through the structure of the arms, and when I bend the elbow, that's not a very good support structure. I've turned the bones into that weird angle, which means I'm hanging entirely off of triceps. And of course, deltoids are assisting.
but it's triceps that suffer. If you can straighten your arm, all of a sudden the two main bones of the arm, the ulna and the humerus, the load-bearing bones, they are all of a sudden in line. Oh, and lock your elbows. Anybody still feel triceps? Yeah, you still feel triceps, but now triceps is just keeping the load-bearing structures in place rather than bearing all that weight. Remember, you're not light. 50% of you is not light. See if you can take your feet halfway to the floor. Nobody slides their feet to the foot death. Legs straight. 3, 2, and finally, let's touch those knees down. If you can, point the toes, sit back. Oh, my hands don't work anymore, you might be thinking. Good. Feel them. Spread your hands. Wiggle. See how much space you can get between your fingers. TikTok the head. Working with straight arms, like handstands and down dog, through flexion, shoulder flexion, it's going to tighten the neck. So notice what you did. In this position, my chest is up. You want to be in something like child's pose. Child's pose is just yoga slouching. And remember, this is a slouch-free zone, so we get that chest up. And again, if you have something going on with the knees, put a couple blocks in between your feet. So you elevate the hips so that it's not a knee issue. I want the chest upright, regardless of what position you're in. And then your arms are heavy. Can you let the weight of them settle, relax? And this is your chance to recover. We have a little bit more to do with the arms, for the arms, to the arms. So every inhale, get your oxygen up. Every exhale like a sigh. Awesome. Now, don't worry about getting up. We're going to work on a little bit of jumping. Jumping is the hard part. Arm Standing Workshop 101 this Saturday. Register on MindBody through the Yoga Better Studio, and then the link will be right here on our normal My Yoga Better page. Hour and a half workshop. For those of you interested in learning how to be on your arms, let's go ahead and turn around and face the wall. Or if you know somebody who's interested, if you register on MindBody, if they're not members of My Yoga Better, that we send them the link. We'll mail you the link. So you don't actually have to be a My Yoga Better member to take the workshop. All workshops, of course, are half off these days. So for $25, there'll actually be a little PDF handout if you're interested. You can take the workshop. It's 11 o'clock in lieu of the medium class. So now I'm on elbows. Elbows and knees, I'm facing the wall. A few of you are the bones in your forearm very uncomfortably grinding on the floor. That's the ulna. So pad your elbows. A towel works well, so you'd have the towel under the elbow with the hands on the floor. Or just have a mat for this. What my wife does is she cut a mat into thirds. And so she has just a third of a mat. It's just a little bit bigger than her forearms. And it's extraordinarily helpful. For things like inversions, your brain says, let's come into elbows down dog, that your brain says, I have to make it up. I have to win the position. And the reality is, when you make it up, it's completely anticlimactic. Like there's nothing to it. It'll be much easier once you make it up than it will be for the year or so it takes for you to get up in the first place. So it's the jumping that I care about. But first we're going to warm this movement up. Let's drive elbows into the floor. Can you get scapula to pull away from the ears? Sandy! Yay! It's nice to see you. You're upside down for some reason. That's pretty cool. You can type upside down. Yay. I hope everybody's able to get the support they need in areas outside of our practice. This is a little humble contribution here, keeping you a little healthier, dealing with our stress response and its impact on the body. This stuff is so critical. And the less you want to practice, the bigger the positive impact the practice will have on your health. Remember that. That little voice in your head that says, no, not today, I'm not up for it, I can't do it. You should know by now that when your stress response is on, which everyone's is, right? Remember, stress is about the future, the anxiety kind. You don't think clearly, and you'll make decisions that sort of keep you unhealthy, how you eat, when you decide to go to sleep, and of course it impacts things like sleep. Let's take one more deep breath. For those of you that need to take a break, just touch your knees down, sit back, shake your arms out. For the rest of us, drive your elbows into the floor, try to punch holes in the mat, in the floor. This is no good. And by no good, I mean pure goodness. Complete and utter and beautiful goodosity. Awesome, awesome. And for those of you feeling strong, we're just going to do 5 kicks on each leg. So you swing the leg up. Maybe you can touch the wall, maybe you can't. Your jumps, if your jumps look like this, it counts. If the foot comes off the floor, that's a jump. For those of you who are a little bit stronger, see if you can get up and not quite touch the wall. So I've actually made it up. I'm just not touching the wall. We're only going to do 5. 5 on each leg. Oh, my butt's heavy. Oh, come on, butt. Good. Good. Let's go ahead and come down on the belly. Now we're going to take a little moment to rest, but we're going to come into an unrestful position. Elbows slide forward onto the wall. Forearms vertical, hands flat on the wall. Bring your head nice and low. So my face is low. Chest is on the floor. See if you can get your armpits as low as they can. And now what is it like to breathe here? Don't arch up and look at the wall. Let's have the nose on the floor. This is like a forearm stand in terms of position. But the floor is doing the work to open the shoulders out. And of course there's no body weight. But this is a fantastic position to work on the neck. Working on the arms, working with the arms in this position. So this is shoulder flexion, external rotation of the shoulders through flexion, is the way we describe it in this style. We've done a lot of work to understand the mechanics of the body. We start with anatomy, and we do lots of testing. Sometime this year I've taught my 30,000th class. Been doing a lot of testing on myself, seeing the results of those works with you guys. It's undeniable what works and what doesn't. So it turns out that working with the arms in this position, and normally in a handstand, your arms are significantly more internally rotated. Here, if my forearms are parallel, that little bit of rotation at the shoulder forces the scapula slightly apart. This is a totally different mechanical impact on the neck. So now my head is just an inch or so off the floor. Turn your head left and right. Try to turn your head even stronger to the right. Look over your right shoulder. Look up at the ceiling. And the other way.
All right, now this one's a little bit weird. Just trust that you're doing it fine enough. You don't have to come out to look at me. Elbows on the wall. Turn your nose strongly to the left. Now your job is to keep your head turned to the left. Keep looking to your left with your elbows on the wall and your chest on the floor. While looking to the left, lift your head up, away from the floor as high as it'll go, and then we lower it. This seems like a weird nothing, but particularly for any of you that get bad sleep, get neck cricks, this is one of the best things I can give you for your neck. If you're interested in more neck work, if you just click under the areas of focus menu on the sidebar of My Yoga Better, all the neck videos, we have dozens of neck videos that focus just on the neck. So crazily, incredibly helpful. I'm keeping the nose turned to the left the whole time, so that means when I lift up, I'm feeling the back left side of the neck. So let's come back to center. Turn that strongly to the right, lifting, and lowering. The side's different, isn't it? It won't feel right, necessarily. I have all of my handstanders do this, and all of my 90-year-olds do this. This is so helpful. Actually just did the drawings for splenius capitis yesterday. It's fun. Good. Push through the hands, straighten the arms. See if you can keep your hips in that exact position, and then don't let your hands slide. Wherever the hands were in the last position, they're glued to the wall. The chest pushes out. Smooth, smooth inhales, open the chest. And then my favorite part, roll into the belly, stack your hands, totally relax. So now I've made a little pillow with my hands. The body relaxes onto the floor. Inhales, open the chest up. You feel the belly and chest expand into the floor. Exhales like a sigh. You feel the spine relax. While we wait, let's bend the knees. Actually finally get a break for those shoulders. Take out the feet left and right. As you can see, I'm always a big fan of the wiggle. But what most yoga practitioners do when they wiggle and stretch and move around is they're trying to get rid of sensation. They feel something in their hip and they don't want to feel it. Instead, in this practice, we are actually trying to discover more sensation. What is true about our body today? And inside that inquiry, we actually get some connection. You collect data over time. You start to notice what changes. And of course, just the simple act of perceiving the sensations right now helps to transform them. It's a big deal. Awesome. Right where you are, let's roll into the back. So now I'm on my back with the head towards the wall. Actually gotten pretty close to the wall. Take a few moments. Call this third best yoga pose ever. For those of you who, for whatever reason, you're it hurts your wrists to be in a back bend, or when you go into a back bend, your hands are really narrow and your elbows feel too long out. This is where the wall is very helpful. We get our blocks, and we'll slide the blocks like so next to the head, like your head is about to get electroshock therapy. I like them in their flattest dimension to start. This is for those of you who can't do regular back bends or it's funky on the wrists. You're going to take your hands on top of the blocks. And again, I need to have my head pretty close to the wall, maybe even touching. The heel of the palm is on top of the block. Notice my fingers are hanging off the near edge. So my fingers are pointing towards the feet. Thumbs are near the ears. Squeeze your elbows in, see if you can get the heel of the palms flat. And for those of you who are new to this practice, your job is simple. Can you get your, on the top of the head, you're going to slide off the back of the head as quickly as you can. You slide on the top of the head, boop. And if you can be here, squeeze your elbows in. This is a huge win. For the rest of us, we can press up. If you don't need the blocks, just put your hands on the floor. Everybody's breathing. Good. Relax out of that. Tick-tock the knees. Give your wrists a little break. So my feet are feet a little bit wider on the mat helps with this tick-tock. Gets me better rotational work out of the hips. Okay. Andrew, how do you get better at back bends? And then the answer is quite obvious. It's genetics, and however that last back bend is exactly going to determine how good the back bends will be the rest of your life. Because doing it once for any discipline, any new skill, determines everything. And really is the summation. It's the end. It is the omega to your alpha. Or that one back bend really didn't mean much. It gave you some data. You see where your starting position is, but it doesn't tell you anything about your final position. The difference between people who make it to their destination on road trips and people who don't, chances are the people who made it just spent more time on the road, more effort, more of their life. The main unit you have to spend is time. Some of you have a little bit more time than you normally do. What are you going to spend these life units on? You don't get them back. Good or bad, there is no refund. So let's spend them on something worthwhile. Let's do 9 more. Back bend push-ups. Everybody's breathing. But Andrew, I can't do 9. That's the idea. Repeat. Repetition. Smooth. Deep inhales. And of course, a back bend push-up. The clicker clicks when your butt touches. Whoop. I'm not doing these little half back bend push-ups. All the way up. Butt touches the floor. Last 4. And number 10, we stay up. Ah, so good. Outstanding. When you come down, take your arms and legs out. Roll your wrists. Roll your ankles. Make a fist, roll the wrists, awesome. We're going to do the world's second easiest sit-up. What you want to do as you throw your legs down is you want to punch your arms forward. No. Everybody show me what? Show me what? Choo-choo arms, exactly. Thank you guys for knowing that. Show me your best choo-choo arms. I take my choo-choo elbows down on the floor. So choo-choo down.
The last thing on the floor is my elbow. So my belly comes up, lower back, then head and shoulders. I throw my legs down, elbows are down long after head and shoulders are off the floor. We kick up to sitting. Let the blood drain out of the head. Tick-tock the head. So good. Wonderfully deep breaths. Rotate the head, check out the neck. We're giving all that extra blood volume a chance to drain out of the head. Let's come up with our jiu-jitsu get up. I'm going to slide my left foot flat. Right hand's going to come slightly behind me and to the right. And this space between left foot and right hand, right foot goes in. When you come to standing, if you have a tendency to lightheadedness, tick-tock the head and upper body. Whew. Let's do one for the road. And release fingers, I catch the back of the head. If you're still lightheaded, bend the knees, get the head down below the heart. What? Oh, that's so great, Stacy. I remember when you first came. It's awesome. How could I forget? Hands behind the head. I'm going to squeeze elbows narrow. I'm going to let the elbows go up and the chin go up. I don't want to have the sensation that I'm crunching the back of the neck, but I do want to let the head go slightly back as I look up, elbows up, and then reach one elbow up a little higher. Oh, stretch all those ribbies. And then the other. I shouldn't feel any crunch on the back of the neck. There should definitely be no lightheadedness. If there's even the littlest hint of lightheadedness, you get that head down below the heart. Smooth, deep inhales. Use your hands. Float the head back up to vertical. The head's perfectly balanced somehow. And the arms hang. You only got life units to spend. I can refund your money, but I can't give you your time back. And you just spend some with me. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your commitment to your health. The hard work it takes to set this whole thing up in your house, to shush the kids long enough for you to actually do the work. Thank you guys for what it takes. Thank you for investing in yourself. Until next time, see you tomorrow. Self high fives. Other people high fives. All love here from Houston, Texas on Story Street. We'll see you soon.